A morning press release from the UDA Secretary General Cleophas Madala that political pundits believe came from the bigwigs in the party was at the center of Wednesday's scuffle, as now the UDA house is falling. After that letter, so many twists and turns emerged the same day. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja have some very unprinted words against his boss, the deputy president. But just before that, Mutahi Kahiga, the Nyeri governor, is also coming out to defend the DP. What exactly is happening? And what can the public read in between the lines? But more importantly, I want to show you why the deputy president's budget has been cut. Welcome to The Bold. Just today, I have understood that in the office of the president, the office of the deputy president, and that office of the prime cabinet secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, have a confidential budget known as the vote of confidence, a confidential vote. Now, what this means, and I think they use the word the confidential vote, but what it means is there is some money that is supposed to be given to these officers, and this money is supposed to be spent, but it's not subjected to any audit query. So for example, if you have a budget of 2 billion, there is some money that is given to you as pocket money. So that money is spent by the office bearer. If it is President Ruto, and I think that is the money is spent to other things. What I don't understand is why we are giving people money in the pocket as confidential fund, becomes some pocket money to work with, but these officers have allowances from everything. If they want to buy a watch, there is a procurement. If someone wants to buy a belt, there is a procurement. If someone wants to buy whatever, everything someone is buying, but at the same time, we are actually putting things in a very uncomfortable situation. But before I give you that breakdown, I want you to listen to Sakaja and Mutahi Kahiga. And I think the reason I've decided to play it early, you'll understand that I think for better part of Wednesday, the ground was set for the massacre of the deputy president, Rigathi, because this information about budget cut have just come later in the evening. But during the day, this is what Sakaja was actually saying about the DP.
That certain individuals have shown blatant disrespect to the party leadership, including the presidency. This behavior is unacceptable and will not be tolerated within the UDA party. We want to now bring order in the UDA party. I am specifically addressing the actions of the following members of the UDA party. 1, Githunguri Member of Parliament, Honorable Gathoni wa Mushomba. 2, Nyeri Governor, Honorable Mutahi Kahiga. 3, Kapsaret Member of Parliament, Honorable Oscar Sudi, and a host of MCAs who will be calling them for disciplinary measures at the party. Your recent conduct has not only undermined the party's unity, but also disrespected the leadership that you pledged to serve. Let this be a stern warning. Desist from such actions immediately. And we are saying that should this behavior continue, the party will take disciplinary action against the above-mentioned members.
The genesis of this matter is the disrespect to the current deputy president, Rigathi, and I still hold on to my statement that the deputy president, who is also the deputy party leader of the United Democratic Alliance, must be respected and given the respect deserving of that position. He is also the deputy president of this republic. On the second matter, I would want to say that indeed any threats from Honorable Cleophas Malala are just hot air because he holds no substantial position in the party. Nobody elected him. And yes, I think I would want to say that Honorable Cleophas Malala, being in the United Democratic Alliance as Secretary General, is just like a square peg in a round hole. It does not fit. And therefore, I think he should hold on to his horses as we carry on with the elections that are ongoing.
Musisikie kwa mtu mwingine. Sibanduki, sisongi nyuma, sipunguzi speed. In fact, sasa nataka nifungue sasa. Sasa nifungue. Nayo. Kaende. Hii ni kufinish. Namna hiyo. Sasa ndo watajua. Alafu so hii yenye inakuja Friday tujipange. Sisi tumekaa ambao mlinichagua, mnione vizuri na mnisikie leo. Mara nyingi mimi huwa sizungumzi. But let me tell you, nimepitia vitu mingi. Sio leo ati mtu ataanza kunitisha. Me, I am not easy to intimidate. In fact, it's impossible. Hii maisha ni Mungu peana. Si ndio hiyo? Na tuko kwa viti yetu kwa sababu ya Mungu na wananchi. Hakuna mtu atasema ati yeye ndo alinipatia kiti ya kuwa governor ya Nairobi. Ni wananchi wa Nairobi milioni 5 ambao walinichagua kuwa governor wa Nairobi. So don't intimidate us. Don't try and intimidate. We are not intimidatable. No one can boggle us. We are unboggable. And so what we will tell them. Unajua hawezi kuwa wewe unanyanyasa watu, you've bullied people for 2 years. Unatajwa wiki moja unalia. For 2 years. Unabuli kila mtu, hii county ndo huyo. Unatajwa wiki moja unazama, unalia. You know, bullies are the biggest cowards. Do you know that? Bullies are the maka unaenda sijui kwa msitu sijui wapi. Let me tell you, if you want respect other leaders. Respect other leaders. And if you don't respect those leaders, respect the people who put them there. Si ndio hiyo? 2027 uko huru kusimama kuwa governor wa Nairobi. Niseme ama nisiseme? Niseme ama nisiseme?
So from that video, you will understand that for better part of the Wednesday, the script was captured in the morning and it had to start with Cleophas Malala. And by the way, talk to us. That press briefing by Malala, the SG, did it come from Rigathi or from Ruto? Because on the other end, you are seeing Oscar Sudi attacking Malala. Now, Rigathi's allies are also attacking Malala. But I think there is a lot of reverse psychology there. Everyone doesn't want to know, doesn't want to explain who sent him. Now, look at this screenshot, because this is how the budget cut have been effected. I'm looking for that here because it's a very critical information that I want us to look at. In the budget that was set aside for William Ruto, and I wanted to look at how it has been done. In the budget that was set aside for William Ruto, that confidential budget was standing at 1.4 billion. And it has been reduced to 600 million. And apparently they have slashed 800 million from that budget. Now, in the office of the Deputy President, the budget was at 1.2 billion. Now, it's been slashed from 1.2 to 300 million. So that means 900 million has been cut from Rigathi's budget. And if you look at Musalia Mudavadi, his budget was 600 million. It has been slashed by 50% back to 150 million. What am I seeing? It's only Rigathi that have received the biggest hit in terms of this cut. And I want to play for you a KTN story that was done about this. You'll understand what they're saying as part of where that money is going to.
As well as the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi. The slashed funds are the confidential vote, which is a discretionary fund at the behest of the holder of the office and is not subjected to any audits. Sources indicate that in the financial year 2024-2025, President Ruto has directed the National Treasury to cut off 800 million shillings from his confidential vote, from 1.4 billion shillings to 600 million shillings, while that of the deputy will be trimmed from 1.2 billion shillings that he had requested to 320 million shillings. Mudavadi's office, which was said to receive 300 million shillings, is in line for a cut of 150 million shillings. According to the Principal Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, Dr. Chris Kipto, the funds slashed from the three offices will go to the ongoing reforms in the coffee sector, the fight against illicit brew and abuse of drugs, and the 10 billion tree planting program. DP Gachagua has been spearheading the coffee reforms and fight against illicit brew.
So, that is what we are talking about. Who was the target? I'll see at Musalia Mudavadi is just a collateral damage. And in fact, I'm afraid this money can be here. This 1.4 that has been set aside for deputy from the president can still be sent. And even this from Davadi. And then Rigathi Gachagua is left out. But there is something that the President William Ruto must really be careful about. You know, you denied Uhuru Kenyatta some funding. And now Rigathi Gachagua's budget has also been cut. I want to believe this budget should not even exist, leave alone even cutting. Why should you take money as pocket money while the president have allowance for everything and anywhere he's going to? If he's going, gari yake inakuwa fueled, nyumba has already been paid, everything is paid by taxpayers' money. Why should people be given taxpayers' money as pocket? You know, as money just to appease your spouses, your girlfriends here. You know, I'm like, I look at this and I was a bit rattled. We should not even have this budget in the first place. But then that is what has happened, that budget has been slashed. There are also some unconfirmed reports that Rigathi Gachagua's security details have been scaled, have been reshuffled. There is a review. I don't know that he requested some, and of course, some of the media reports were saying that the Kalenjin caucus camp within his security details are the ones that have been removed. But I look at that. I will explain for you what exactly that really means. Now, the part of the fallout script was actually implemented very early in the day. And if you can look at what happened for better part of the day, better part of Wednesday, I think the ground was set to ensure that Rigathi receives the beating. And I'm afraid he might not really be able to survive this. He might not survive this because the ground has been set. If you look, you know, someone like Sakaja, and by the way, tuambie tu kweli, Sakaja should not even hide behind Rigathi issue. Sakaja should fix Nairobi first. And we should also remind Sakaja that he's having a fake degree. Yes, from Tim's University. So he's keep on saying there, you know, I believe Sakaja should just give us a break on these matters of Rigathi. Let's deal with Rigathi. I think the others can deal with Rigathi. But the last person is Sakaja. Now, why Rigathi's budget is being slashed? I want to answer that. I think that's very predictable. You cannot, you know, it doesn't need any magical science to understand why Rigathi's budget is being slashed. The first thing, William Ruto wants to cut his political activities. Better part of this money that is being set aside as confidential vote, this money is the money being dished in Harambes every Sunday. This is the kind of money that when he attends Harambes and gives millions for school kids to hold parties. This is the money that is used to pay some one or two people here so that they can charge political tensions. And what this means, remember, the currency of politics is money. You cannot marshal a political machinery. You cannot have a political power without the finance. So what Ruto has have understood maybe is that he has gathered some intelligence around Rigathi, that some people that support Rigathi have been getting some support from Rigathi Gachagua himself. It is a strategy that is laying out to ensure that any source of funding, any money that Rigathi receives is going to be cut off. And you see, there are politicians who, even if, by then let me tell you, politics is very expensive. Even if you're a deputy president and you are going to Mombasa and they want to tag along 10 or 20 MPs, you'll have to pay them. You have to pay them an allowance. You'll even have to sort their air tickets. And if it is a Harambee, you also have to give them money to contribute in that Harambee. In many times, that is what happens. And that is one of the things that William Ruto wants to cut. And why? Remember, for Wednesday morning, there was a story that was done by Nation that Rigathi Gachagua is looking for a new political party. And the party that belonged to Jimmy Kibaki, the son to the former president Mwai Kibaki, is what the party that Rigathi Gachagua has been angling for. Now, if indeed this is something that is there, then remember that story is saying it is Ruto who ordered treasury. Yes, there have been these austerity measures. Ruto has allegedly ordered treasury to cut the budget, and the others are just collateral. For example, Ruto has a lot of money, many funding, and this is the strategy. After reducing that budget that goes to the office of the deputy president, if there are any other tenders within these ministries that Rigathi can get his head on, he might not be able to dip his hands in the coffers. Probably maybe in some 1 or 2 counties. But in the national government, he will be locked in any other tender, in any ministry, so that to ensure that financially he's not in it. And why? Ruto have realized that Rigathi Gachagua can have a presidential stab in 2027. Can have a stab at the presidency. But and I asked you guys, if Rigathi is kicked out as the running mate, which position can he vie for? He can only be a running mate, and if a running mate in a very serious ticket, or he can only be a presidential candidate. And Mount Kenya votes with emotions. So don't be cheated that, because if Rigathi is in the ballot, it's going to dent William Ruto. If Rigathi is in the ballot, then Azimio needs to rush and give Raila Odinga that ticket, then William Ruto will be home. William Ruto will be defeated as early as 8 a.m. You take Rigathi to the ballot, give Raila that ticket, and let's go. So this is something that he understands and wants to ensure that Rigathi is not engaged in any political activity, because he's going to use that office. For the next 5 years, he might do what William Ruto was doing. He might also use the resources of that office to campaign. Number 2, that coffee and drug abuse reform activities have also been denied. Why? This is some of the activities, the funding that was going to in office, part of it was this conferences on coffee, drug abuse reform, all that. And now that is part of what is being slashed. And they're reducing it so that, number 1, he will not get political visibility. By the way, I saw a poster that on first is supposed to go. Rigathi will then be attending funerals. There is. Remember, he's still skipping state events. For the last 2 weeks, he's not been attending state events. So you cannot really underestimate this. And that's one of the reasons why they're slashing that budget, to ensure and in give out, and they're saying that money will go to planting trees, coffee reforms, and the drug abuse. Remember that coffee, you cannot say that money being slashed from the 3 offices is what is going to be used there. It's not logical, but it's just part of substantiating the cuts. Now, the other thing I realized is Ruto is uncomfortable that Rigathi Gachagua runs his own schedule. You know what the Constitution envisioned is a deputy president being a principal assistant to the president. That is what the Constitution envisioned. But we made a mistake. Even the crafters of the Constitution, we made a mistake. If a president and a deputy president is elected at the same time, and then argument is on the votes, and the truth is Rigathi Gachagua's region voted for Ruto more than even Ruto's backyard, there is a problem. And that's why I've been saying there's a constitutional problem. So in real sense, he needs to run a budget. If that money is not going to be enough, then what this means is that Rigathi will have to lie low and then be submissive to the president. Lastly, I look at this as part of the strategy to kick Rigathi Gachagua out. I will not be shocked. I am not a prophet. But where this is leading, it might end up degenerating to an impeachment motion against the deputy president. With all this character assassination and all this anger it's taking, I am afraid the DP might be shown the door through an impeachment. I wish I'm wrong. Thank you.